Are you afraid of disrupting someone with your presence? It's Amy from Mixing Babies in Business here, and I've been doing some live streams around pitching and presenting with kids as a parent, but also on your own if that's something that you want to build your confidence with. And I wanted to share some times where I could have let something stop me because I might have been disrupting an event, an audience, a group of people, but I decided that my needs also deserved to be met. And I want you to hear me when I say that my belief is that everyone deserves to design a life that works for them and their family, and in doing that, have their needs met. But this doesn't always mean that your needs will be met by other people, or that people will come to your door, or the invitations will arrive in your inbox, or the opportunities will roll into you without you taking action first. So I do believe rather that everyone deserves to have their needs met, but you sometimes have to go out and make that happen. One example of this was when I went to startup program workshops in the morning. It was around 7 a.m. that they started. It was meant for people who may have had a full-time job but were looking at starting their own business. And I would drive to these workshops. I think they were done over, I want to say 8 to 10 weeks that you had to attend in order to apply for a $5,000 grant. So in order to even be eligible for any financing through this business program, you had to attend all these workshops. So I would bring our oldest at the time. I believe he was around 9 months, 9 months, until 10 or 11 months. And at that point, I'd been bringing him already to weekly sessions over 10 weeks in England when we lived there. And so we'd relocated to Canada. We were in the process of looking for a house, and I would bring him to these workshops. I would feed him breakfast there. And I was the only person rolling in with a stroller to that workshop every week, but I attended every single one. Didn't end up getting the grant because we ended up moving to a city that was out of the catchment area of the program. But side note for that, I still showed up. I still did the work. I still went to the sessions. He never cried. The baby never cried. Everyone was fine. And people would comment after the fact that they either thought it was admirable or, like, well done you for showing up to this. And one of the speakers who focused on finance and bookkeeping, she was a single mother. She was widowed whenever she was a younger mother. And she really helped me a lot with her advice around finance. So those opportunities, that experience wouldn't have existed if I didn't put myself out there. Another one was pitching to be a guest speaker at Creative Mornings, as well as at the Running Remote conference. I knew I would have my kids with me at the time for the first one. For the second, I was 4 months, not quite 4 months postpartum, or around 4 months postpartum. So both of those engagements, I wore one of our kids in a carrier on stage. And in the case of the first performance or speaking engagement, I had the two of them. Their dad was overseas on work for his company that he was working with at the time. And he was out of country. So I decided to do the speaking engagement for Creative Mornings anyways. Went with my double stroller with the kids, and some people came up to me after and said that one of them said it was the most engaging talk they'd ever seen because of the way I presented and how I was able to work around the kids and respond to them throughout the talk. But also, I was always moving. I was constantly moving. But the other person said that I'm going to admit, I think that I'm sorry, the sun is coming out now. I don't know if I can fix this. Improvising. She said, I am usually pretty aware of biases as a person. I'm very inclusive, but I will admit, when I saw you come into this event in the morning, I was like, what are they doing here with their kids? What's a stroller doing here and these kids? And then you got on stage and I realized, oh my gosh, I have a bias that I didn't realize. This person is one of the speakers. And so if I would have hesitated, if I would have decided, no, I'm not eligible for this. In the case of the Running Remote one, I had a lot of people come up to me after and share their own personal stories about their remote work with kids setup. and just tell me how they felt seen. That's a lot of the feedback I get from my talks, is that they feel seen, they relate, they learn something new, or they can just see how this can apply to their life straight away. But visibility matters. And we have seen this in the news, especially this past month. Not everyone is going to protect you, to accommodate for your needs, to think about you. You need to use your voice. You need to use your own power, your own presence. You need to be able to advocate for yourself. And sometimes that means appearing disruptive or being disruptive. But the traditional systems and environments that businesses operate in and professional settings foster are not always inclusive, are not always accessible, and are not always designed with your needs in mind, especially if you're a parent or a primary caregiver of young kids. So I want to share this message with you this morning. I haven't done any of these videos in a while, but I really want you, if you haven't gone back, to watch some of or listen to some of the short episodes like this that I've done from my car after school drop-off, and learn some basic pitching and presenting tips. Practice over time. Build your exposure over time to audiences, to different environments, to different settings, to getting outside of your comfort zone a little bit, to being disruptive. Because if you don't own that, if you don't give yourself the chance, if you exclude yourself before others can even exclude you, you are giving your power away. And I just really want to remind you of how much power you do have, and how, as an individual, you can still make a difference in your life, in your kids' lives, in your community, and for the lives of potentially other people like you who maybe haven't seen that example yet, or other people who have the power or the decision-making authority or ability to create changes in those environments, to make them more inclusive, to make them safer for women, children, parents, primary caregivers, people who are usually unpaid, underserviced, and overfunctioning. So I hope this resonated with you. If it does, or if you have any questions, or you want me to cover anything else on the topic of pitching and presenting with kids, I'll try to get back to these more regularly. And I just want to send another message across to you that I've been showing up in a very imperfect way. This is my inside of my car, using natural light, using my mobile phone, speaking before coffee, speaking before having my thoughts gathered, no notes, no post-its, just stream of consciousness most of the time. Sometimes I have post-its if I feel like I'm going to miss some of the points, but not today. And in the last year alone, I did about, I think, 16 of these, maybe 15. Put them on YouTube, put them on social media, and on LinkedIn. And my LinkedIn, I believe I grew over 2,000 followers. The number is not exactly 2,000. It's a little bit more than that. But in the last year alone, just from showing up, just from being visible, from sharing practical advice and lived experiences. So I want you to remember that your experience matters. Your unique perspective matters. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be messy. You don't have to have the right tech setup. I'm on an Android, a basic Android mobile right now, and I'm using the camera feature. And I don't do a lot of editing. I'm not going to edit out my mistake I made earlier where I said the wrong word. That happens to me a lot. And I just roll with it. So I want you to remember that you don't need to have it all figured out. You still can reach people. You still can make a difference. And visibility really matters. So go and be disruptive and have a great week. Take care.